Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sean King said to me when we were in the car once, he said, Sammy, you don't understand who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. She's the representative of the most racist area in Georgia. African Americans were told not to go to her area. She's now one of the loudest advocates against Zionism.
You know, a lot of folks out there are genuinely shocked at how somebody like a Marjorie Taylor Greene could all of a sudden switch up on not just the president, but the entire party. How she could just throw them all under the bus in the way that she has recently. Now, I just so happen to not be one of those people in the category of shocked, because we're talking about the same person who believed that the 2018 California fires were caused by Jewish space lasers in order for them to profit in this grand conspiracy. This is that woman, right? That's her. Now, I'm also not surprised because the character of this woman has been put into question time and time again, unrepentantly. There's somebody who claims to be a Christian, and so I can uphold this standard for somebody who claims the faith. This is a woman who had 2 affairs on her husband of more than a decade. And one of them was with a quote unquote spiritual tantric master who prefers not to keep clothes on. So, you know, me just hearing the multitude of stories around this woman, I had I guess a more difficult time falling into this love spell of hers. There were times when she would say things I was like, yes, MTG. But then other times, most times I was like, there's something about this woman I just can't trust. Now, there's been a recent clip that is going viral, and we're going to get into it, of her essentially throwing the party under the bus. This, again, to me was not surprising because of what I've seen, but what really was the nail in the coffin was an interview that she did before this one, and I'm actually going to bring that one up first. It's an interview that she did speaking on, well, I'll just let it speak for itself. Let's just say she had earlier sentiments of our president not being, quote unquote, who he claimed to be. So let's go ahead and run this for you guys.
Tell you what, 6 months in, Steve, and here we are turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran on behalf of Israel. Yes, it was on behalf of Israel. We're entering a nuclear war, the World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag draped coffins on the nightly news, on Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how.
Now, I do want you to keep in mind the comment about CNN being a part of this brainwashing process, right? But okay, so here we have MTG claiming that our president was going to lead us, definitely was going to lead us into World War III, and that there would be flags draped on top of coffins, alluding to us losing our brothers and sisters in war because of a decision our president made. Yeah, so let's go ahead and check something real fast, because today happens to be one of those type of days where I do have time. I got time today. Operation Midnight Hammer date. When was Operation Midnight Hammer? Wow, it is, my goodness, this year's going a little too fast. Chill. This year needs to actually chill out. Okay. Operation Midnight Hammer striking the Iranian nuclear sites. Let me bring this up for you guys. Was in June the 22nd, 2025. This was 3 months ago. Almost 4. That is incredible. So it has been 4 months, and yet neither any of my contemporaries have found themselves in combat boots in the middle of Iran on the behalf of the Jews. Now, though we have not found ourselves in World War III, what we have found ourselves in is severe mental illness on the right now, or the alleged right, the alleged conservative leaning folk. We have found the same sort of psychosis and derangement, the JDS, Jew Derangement Syndrome, taking place on the right. And it is as severe as the TDS. And actually, oftentimes, they are interlinked and become one derangement syndrome, all in and of themselves, right? The Trump derangement, the Jew derangement, or the Israel derangement become one. They mesh. And this is what we are seeing with MTG. Now, MTG has been building her career off of something interesting to me, maybe some of y'all, is this idea that America is run by AIPAC. What an original idea, right? The Jews rule the world. It's like these people just seem to be using all of their creativity in this one space. You know what I mean? Where they could be using so many other places. They're just able to come up with things that nobody else has ever come up with ever. It was this brand new propaganda. Nobody's ever seen the likes of it ever. Not Marx, not Hitler. None of these people would have ever even imagined this level of creativity and ingenuity. Anyway, she has built a brand new audience off of, the Jew conversation. And I didn't even want to keep it on there, I actually wanted to focus in on the Trump conversation, how she has been disloyal to a man who is seemingly responsible for why she's even in her seat of office right now, why she is a congresswoman, which is difficult to believe with the sort of individual we're dealing with. But, this is America, and it's the land of the free, and sometimes the home of the mentally ill. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pull this brand new clip up. I realize I just shut it down prematurely. So let's go ahead and get into the most recent clip here. On none other than, drum roll please, than CNN. Interesting. I guess she's ready to brainwash a couple boomers then.
Just not staying focused on America First policies is detrimental as well.
Yeah, and on that note, are you concerned about the cost of living?
Very.
That the President Trump said he would lower?
The inflation crushed people in the past 4.5 years, and the costs have not come down. I myself can tell you my apartment here in Washington, D.C., the electricity bill is $100 more than it was last year, because you can look at your own bill and look at.
I'm MTG, and I'm relatable to the common man and woman. Now, we're going to get into a interesting piece of information in a little bit. Around her financial situation. Seems that she has not been struggling since she found her way into Congress. And it's not from the $175,000 that they take from taxpayers. No. Let us continue.
It costs. Prices have not come down. That is a reality. People's wages have not gone up. That's another reality. And so Americans are continuing to have a very difficult time getting by. And I'll go a step further. I'm a mom. And so when it comes to what is affecting my adult children's lives, who are 22, 26, and 28, I'm going to be 1,000% fighting for them over any politician and any party. And I can tell you right now, that generation, they are barely making it, and they're very hopeless for their future.
No matter what party, I will fight for my babies. I'm just an old Southern gal. I'm just a simple maid, and I'm just, I just care about my country. That's all I care about. Well, I guess that you wouldn't then mind me possibly looking a little bit into your books. And I've done this before, and I'll do it 1,000 times if necessary, because, if you're going to scam me, at least just tell me, just let me know, right? She's selling this thing of all my colleagues are bought and paid for by the AIPACs. But me, nobody's ever paid for me except for the American taxpayer who has led to your, I don't know, how much is it? How much is it these days? Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene net worth jumped to $21 million since joining Congress. I guess that extra $100 on the gas and light bill ain't gonna be too bad after all, right? I'm pretty sure you can take care of that now, can't you? Just a simple Southern gal. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is taking flack for buying several stocks just before President Donald Trump. Look at that. Imagine that. Throwing our president under the bus after he created a opportune time for you to cash out. Look at this. April 9th announcement of a 90-day tariff pause for non-retaliatory countries, which sparked a market rally. According to required public disclosures, Greene bought stocks worth roughly $21,000, $315,000 on April 8th and April 9th. She also bought between $50,000 and $100,000. That's a big jump. That's a huge leap right there. So somewhere between $21,000 and $315,000. I don't exactly remember which one of those two it is, but it's somewhere in the midst of those two. 50 to 100,000 in treasury bills. Okay. What we got here? Greene's net worth has reportedly increased from $700,000 before she joined Congress to approximately $22 million. That's more than $21 million increase. $21,300,000 increase in your personal net worth since joining Congress. Can we talk about it for a second? Can we talk about it? We're just simple folks over here, just having a simple conversation. Now, tell me, does this qualify as corruption? Possibly. Because if we're going to use a Nancy Pelosi as an example of absolute corruption within our systems of government, because of her inside trading, right? Upwards to 200 million on, at least Paul has made upwards to 200, and she's made 190 or so million dollars in Congress. So tell me this. Do we discount your insider trading whilst pointing the finger at Nancy because she's a Democrat? See, I, as a conservative, just so happen to believe that that is wrong, that there should be equal scales for all of us, in essence. There should not be injustice. Unfortunately, there is in this life, in this world. But I'm not one who's going to stand behind that. I don't think it's fair to say, well, Pocahontas over there and Elizabeth Warren has made 70 million in Congress, but little old me, I just made 21 million, honey. I'm just a simple gal. $100 extra. I'm pretty sure your kids are going to be just fine. They're probably well taken care of because somehow you have been able to predict the markets perfectly time and time again in the last couple of years as you have been in Congress with maybe possibly some sort of information. So when you claim that you are not paid off by AIPAC, and that our president is now anything but America first because he's not willing to join you in the Jew hate brigade in your Jewish space laser situation, just because you find yourself in a place where AIPAC may have never given you a dime, I can say this without a shadow of doubt and with reasonable, satisfactory evidence. I think this is reasonable. I think a publication from Yahoo Finance who does this is reasonable, right? Oh, we can also get into another article here. What do we have? We have Marjorie Taylor Greene up 142% in stock she bought days before ICE awarding company massive contract. Interesting. You bought into a stock that went up 142%. Interesting. Yeah, I would use that as probably reasonable, satisfactory evidence that you yourself are corrupted as a politician, as a human being. Take away the label of what you are. You're somebody who is stealing from the American taxpayer. You're stealing. You're taking our money that we pay for you to do a job, and you're using it for the sake of what is referred to as a federal crime, white collar crime. You see how this works? You know, I think some folks forget that these things go both ways. They spend a lifetime pointing the finger to one side and forgetting that it is equally weighed on yours. Yes, we can call out the leftist corruption. Bad Nancy, bad Elizabeth. Shame on you, insider traders, taking advantage of the American people. Shame on you, super PACs, for purchasing politicians. I would at the very least respect the individual who took money and told us about it, like most politicians. Like there's records of who took what money. I'm far more skeptical about an individual who is involved in insider trading. So when you are revealing yourself as somebody who believes the president isn't doing his job in some sort of way, has turned on the American people, is anything other than America first, I am also skeptical in that. And I just can't help but think to myself, maybe there is an ulterior reason here. Maybe it has nothing to do with corruption if you yourself are a corrupted individual. You guys catch the logic behind this one? Let alone, we want to talk about Christian values and that your heart is transformed as a Christian. He takes your heart of stone and turns it into one of flesh. You no longer have the desire to steal and cheat and, be an adulterous spouse. You have no desire for these. I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. All of us are sinners and we're saved by grace. So let's not get away from that. But I would suspect that continuous corruption, lying, manipulation, I would think that isn't necessarily aligned with those values. So I would then have to question, are those actually your values? Again, these are the old questions we talk about, right? We're just asking questions. No, we're asking genuine questions. If you're going to have so much smoke for those people, because first it was just the Jews, now it's the overarching, maybe it's just my party, right? Oh, this old president who I don't know if you actually ever were truly, fully MAGA. I don't know. Maybe you were at first and then you found it less advantageous once you got into the halls of Congress and here you are finding yourself a more profitable grift. But I think it's at very least fair for us to ask these questions and to ask them of everybody, including ourselves. I can't present this unless I check the log in my own eye. I only speak of the things that I've checked myself on. That's how I can speak confident on them time and time again. If I haven't checked myself on it, you're not going to hear from it until I've checked myself on it. Now, some people like to say, oh, well, you're judging. We shouldn't judge. That's actually not scriptural. You should not judge unless you be judged in the same measure. So just make sure that you're not doing the same thing. Take the log out of your eye before taking the speck. So you should help to take specks out of your neighbor's eye, your brother or sister's eye. But just make sure that you're good in that area, that you're not being a hypocrite in that space. We need righteous judgment. This is spoken of time and time again. We need righteous discernment. That is judgment, being able to judge a right from a wrong, a good from a evil, a godly and ungodly. And so we're using that in order to decipher the world around us because it's getting harder and harder to do so. And without God's discernment, none of this exists. So MTG, you are, you're officially on the watch list. We're watching. We're paying attention. We want to see what you're really about. And if you'll disclose these things and maybe repent of them, then, that would be a beautiful thing. That would be accepted as somebody who's been appointed as a leader. If not, then we have no choice but to assume that you are corrupted. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep, I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me, I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.